Let me ask you something. Have you ever gone to bed at night with worry in your heart? Wondering how the bills will be paid? How you'll provide for your family? Or if you'll ever get ahead? We've all been there. That heavy feeling on your chest. That voice whispering, "You'll never make it." But tonight I want to tell you something life-changing. You're not stuck. You're not powerless. And you are not broke in spirit. Because true wealth doesn't start in your bank account. Starts in your mind. Starts in your words. Florence Scovel Shinn, the great spiritual teacher, once said, "Your word is your wand. What you speak, you invite. What you declare, you attract." So tonight I'm going to give you a key. A simple, powerful set of words that can shift your energy and open the door for unexpected blessings. But before I share those words, let me tell you a story. There was a woman, a single mother, who came to Florence for help. She had no job, no income, and no clue how she'd feed her children. Florence told her to speak words of faith every night. To declare abundance as if it was already hers. To say, "I have a wonderful job in a wonderful way. I give wonderful service for wonderful pay." The woman thought it was silly, but she said it every night, and within weeks, she was offered a job out of the blue. A job she never even applied for. Her needs were met. Her life began to change. Now, some of you may be thinking, that's just coincidence. But let me ask you this. Do you think it was coincidence when Thomas Edison said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work," and then lit up the world with electricity? Was it coincidence when Martin Luther King Jr. declared, "I have a dream," and that dream reshaped history? Words have power. They are seeds. And every seed you plant tonight can grow into a harvest tomorrow. So here's what I want you to do. Tonight, before you go to bed, speak these words aloud. Unexpected wealth flows to me freely, abundantly, and endlessly. All that is mine by divine right now comes to me under grace, in perfect ways. Say it slowly. Feel it deeply. Speak it until it sinks into your soul. And tomorrow speak it again. And again. Because wealth doesn't just mean money. It means peace. It means opportunities. It means a life where you are no longer ruled by fear. Let me tell you something important. When you speak these words, you're not begging. You're aligning. You're tuning your mind like a radio to the frequency of abundance. Opportunities will start appearing. Ideas will come to you. People will be drawn to help you. It's not magic. It's faith in action. But you must believe. You must declare. And you must stay open to the unexpected. Remember this. Your words create your world. So tonight, don't speak fear. Don't speak lack. Don't speak defeat. Instead, declare what you want to see. Declare wealth. Declare favor. Declare divine provision. Because heaven's supply is unlimited. And the moment you speak with faith, you open the vault of blessings that's been waiting for you all along. So tonight, my friend, when your head hits the pillow, say this one more time. Unexpected wealth flows to me freely, abundantly, and endlessly. All that is mine by divine right now comes to me under grace, in perfect ways. Say it with conviction. Say it like you already have it. And watch your life change. Because God's bank has no limits. And it's already in your name. Key takeaways. Your words have creative power. What you declare, you attract. Wealth is not just money. It's peace, opportunity, and provision. Speaking words of abundance shifts your mindset and energy. Faith-filled declarations invite unexpected blessings. Consistency is key. Speak these affirmations daily. You are aligning, not begging. Blessings are already assigned to you. Let me take you deeper into this truth because so many people underestimate it. Your words have creative power, and what you declare, you attract. Think about the first time you saw a seed in your hand. It's small. It looks ordinary. You could toss it away and forget it. But inside that tiny seed is a tree, and inside that tree is fruit, and inside that fruit are more seeds. Words are just like that. They seem small, they slip out of our mouths in casual conversation. But each one carries the power to create. If a farmer plants an apple seed, He doesn't expect oranges to grow. He knows exactly what will come out of the ground. The same is true for us. The words we speak, over ourselves, over our families, over our future, are the seeds we are planting in the soil of life, and they will grow in time. Imagine two people standing at the edge of a cliff. One looks out and says, "There's no way I'll ever climb that mountain." The other says, "Somehow I'll find a way up." Both of them are right. Not because of fate but because of faith. The words we speak shape the paths we choose, the actions we take, and even the people we attract into our lives. Florence Scovel Shinn often reminded her students that, "Your word is your wand." When a magician waves a wand, things appear seemingly out of thin air. A rabbit comes out of a hat, a bouquet bursts into bloom. But this isn't just fantasy. It's a metaphor for the unseen power of speech. Your words are the wand that stirs the unseen, that calls forth what you desire from the spiritual into the physical. There's a story of a man who grew up in poverty, in a neighborhood where broken bottles and shattered dreams lined the streets. He used to walk home from school, head down, muttering, "I'll never be like this. I'll never have anything." Those words were seeds, but they weren't seeds of growth. They were seeds of fear and limitation. And like a self-fulfilling prophecy, they shaped his choices. He took low-paying jobs, never believing he was worth more. He never invested in himself, because his own words convinced him he had no value. He became the very thing he spoke against. The words we repeat, especially in moments of frustration, anger, or fear, become the blueprint for our lives. They dig trenches in our minds, and before we know it, we are living inside those trenches. Now let's flip the scene. A young woman in a similar situation, growing up in lack, decided she would not let her circumstances define her. She started speaking over herself. "I am wealthy in mind. I am blessed beyond measure. Opportunities chase me down." She didn't have proof. She didn't have a bank account overflowing with cash. But she had words, and she used them like a builder uses bricks. She wrote them on sticky notes, stuck them on her mirror, whispered them at night when her stomach growled because there wasn't enough food. People laughed at her positive thinking. But she wasn't just being positive. She was sowing seeds in her mind, and those seeds began to grow. She applied for jobs she once thought were out of reach. She started a small side business that grew into a thriving company. She attracted mentors and opportunities simply because her words created a new identity in her spirit, and that identity attracted a new reality. Science now confirms what spiritual teachers have said for centuries. Our words literally change the wiring in our brain. Neuroscience calls it neuroplasticity. Every time you speak something, your brain fires new connections, strengthening belief patterns. Say, "I'm broke" enough times, and your mind becomes wired to see only scarcity. Say, "I am wealthy and blessed," and your brain begins to look for proof of that statement. It's like wearing a new pair of glasses. Suddenly, you see opportunities where you used to see dead ends. Your words tune your mind to a frequency, just like turning the dial on a radio. You can't listen to jazz if you're tuned to a rock station, and you can't attract abundance if your words are always broadcasting lack. Think about history. Think about leaders who changed the world. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just march. He declared, "I have a dream." He spoke life into a future that didn't yet exist. Winston Churchill stood before a fearful nation during World War II and said, "We shall never surrender." Those words gave courage to millions, shifting the course of history. Their power didn't come from wealth, armies, or status. It came from words. Words that sparked vision, ignited hope, and drew strength from the unseen. And if you're thinking, "That's inspiring, but I'm not a leader. I'm just trying to pay my bills," let me tell you something. This principle is not reserved for famous people or spiritual teachers. It works in your living room, your kitchen, your car on the way to work. Your words are creating your reality whether you realize it or not. If you wake up saying, "I'm so tired, I'm so stressed, nothing ever works for me," you are speaking a prophecy over your own day. If instead you say, "Today I walk in peace. Today I expect good news. Today I am favored and blessed," You shift the energy before you even step out the door. You become a magnet for the very things you declare. Florence Scovel Shinn told her students to speak what she called the word of supply. She encouraged them to declare, "God is my supply, and there is a supply for every demand." It wasn't about wishful thinking. It was about aligning yourself with divine law. She understood that words are not just sounds, they are spiritual commands. The universe responds to them like soil responds to a seed. If you plant a seed of lack by saying, "I'll never have enough," the soil doesn't argue with you. Simply brings forth what you planted. But if you plant a seed of faith by declaring, "I have more than enough. I live in abundance," that same soil will bring forth provision. There's a reason the Bible says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Words can kill a dream or they can bring it to life. Imagine a parent telling a child every day, "You'll never be anything." That child begins to believe it, live it, and prove it. Now imagine a parent who looks into that same child's eyes and says, "You are brilliant. You are destined for greatness." Those words become an inner compass, guiding that child's future. This isn't theory. It's reality. If you've ever said something hurtful in anger, you know the weight words carry. You've seen how they can crush someone's spirit. But if words can wound, they can also heal. If words can curse, they can bless. If words can tear down, they can build up. Every time you speak, you're either building a prison or a palace for yourself. This is why tonight, when you choose to declare wealth, you are not just saying empty phrases. You are rewriting your future. You are reprogramming your mind. You are calling forth blessings that have been waiting for your permission to appear. The moment those words leave your lips, something in the unseen begins to shift, because words are not just sound. They are spirit, they are energy, they are creation in motion. And once spoken with faith, they will not return empty. They will find their target. They will bring back what you declared. They always do. We often hear the word wealth, and our minds immediately picture stacks of cash, luxury cars, sprawling mansions, and a bank account with more zeros than we can count. But true wealth is so much more than that. It is not only the sum of your possessions. It is the sum of your peace, your health, your joy, and your opportunities. Money is just one small part of wealth, but many people chase it their whole lives, thinking that once they have enough, everything else will fall into place. Yet how many stories have we heard of rich people who were deeply unhappy, who felt empty and unfulfilled, despite having everything that money could buy? True wealth goes beyond what your hands can hold. It's about what your heart carries and what your soul radiates. Imagine two people walking side by side down a city street. One is dressed in designer clothes, gold watch glinting in the sun, his pockets filled with cash. The other wears simple clothing, but his shoulders are relaxed. His smile is genuine. His laughter is contagious. The first man is constantly checking his phone, worried about deals, afraid of losing what he's earned. The second man carries no fear, because his wealth isn't tied to things. It's tied to a sense of abundance that cannot be taken away. Which one is truly wealthy? Florence Scovel Shinn often reminded people that wealth is a spiritual state long before it's a material one. She believed that you can have millions in the bank and still be bankrupt in spirit, and you can have very little in your hand but live as though you own the world because your soul is at peace. Think of a mother sitting in a small, cozy kitchen with her children, steam rising from a pot of soup she made from scratch. The chairs don't match, the floor creaks, and there's no fancy silverware on the table, but there is laughter. There is warmth. There is love. That scene is wealth. A man walking in a park at sunrise, breathing deeply, feeling his body strong and pain-free, that's wealth. A young woman with a notebook full of dreams, determination in her heart, and hope that keeps her moving forward, that's wealth. These moments don't require a credit card swipe. They require gratitude and a recognition that life itself is a treasure. But let's be honest. Money is a part of wealth too. Money is a tool, a resource, a way to exchange energy. It allows us to bless others, to expand our reach, to live more comfortably. Yet when you understand wealth as more than money, your relationship with money changes. You stop chasing it out of fear and start attracting it with faith. You no longer see it as something scarce and hard to get, but as something that flows through your life like water through a river. The richest people, not just financially but spiritually, understand this. They know that wealth is not something you grasp tightly. It's something you allow. There was once a man who spent years working long hours, never seeing his family, sacrificing his health just to build a fortune. He had everything he thought he wanted: a huge house, luxury cars, a successful business. But one day, sitting alone in that massive house, he realized he felt empty. The laughter of his children had faded into memories. His marriage had dissolved, and his health was failing. All the money in the world couldn't buy back what he had lost. He was financially rich, but spiritually bankrupt. Contrast that with another man, who never became a millionaire but lived a full, joyful life. He invested in relationships, gave generously, and found purpose in helping others. When he died, the funeral home was overflowing with people who came to honor him, and his legacy of love continued long after he was gone. That is true wealth, when your life leaves ripples of goodness long after you're gone. Florence used to tell her students to see wealth as a vibration, a frequency that you tune into. When you live with gratitude, generosity, and faith, you're tuning into that frequency. And when you speak words of abundance, when you declare that you are wealthy in every way, you begin to feel it in your body. You notice that you walk taller, your shoulders relax, and opportunities seem to appear out of nowhere. Because wealth is a mindset before it's a manifestation. The mind is like a magnet, and when it's focused on fear and lack, it repels opportunities. But when it's focused on abundance, it draws them in effortlessly. Think about people you've met who seem truly wealthy, not because of their clothes or cars, but because of the way they carry themselves. They radiate a sense of calm, of confidence, of knowing they are cared for. That kind of wealth is contagious. It's the person who walks into a room and instantly changes the atmosphere, not because they're flashy, but because their spirit is grounded. That person could lose everything tomorrow, and yet, because their wealth is rooted in something deeper, they'd rebuild it all again. There's an old story about a king who disguised himself as a beggar and walked through his kingdom to see how his people were living. He encountered a man sitting outside a small, humble home, laughing with his children. The king, curious, asked him, "Aren't you worried about tomorrow? Don't you fear poverty?" The man smiled and said, "No, because I know I will always have enough. I am rich with love, rich with faith, and rich with peace. That is wealth no thief can steal." The king returned to his palace that night, humbled, realizing that his gold meant nothing if he could not find the joy that poor man carried. So many of us spend our lives chasing things, thinking they will make us happy, when in reality, wealth is already around us. It's in the breath filling your lungs right now. It's in the relationships that support you. It's in the gift of time, the ability to dream, the chance to create. And when you start recognizing these blessings as wealth, you open the door for more to come. Because gratitude multiplies. It's like watering a plant. The more you water it, the more it grows. When you give thanks for what you already have, no matter how small, you attract more reasons to give thanks. Florence taught that wealth is your birthright, not because of who you are on paper but because of who created you. If God made this vast universe with oceans that never run dry, skies filled with endless stars, and forests teeming with life, do you really think He created you to scrape by, to live in fear of lack? No. He created you to live fully, to walk in abundance, to know that you are always provided for. And when you grasp that truth, something inside you shifts. You stop begging and start believing. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of circumstance and start seeing yourself as a child of a limitless creator. Wealth is waking up with a heart at peace, knowing you're in alignment with your purpose. Wealth is being able to give generously, not just because you have extra, but because you know there's always more where that came from. Wealth is opportunities knocking on your door, not by accident, but because your spirit has been calling them forth. Wealth is freedom, the freedom to live, to love, to give, and to grow without fear holding you hostage. And once you step into that mindset, once you speak those truths over your life, money becomes just one small piece of the puzzle, a natural byproduct of a soul that knows it is already rich beyond measure. Let me take you deeper into this idea because it's one of the most overlooked truths about abundance. Speaking words of faith-filled affirmation doesn't just change your mindset, it shifts your very energy, your presence, and the way the world responds to you. Think of it like this. Every word you speak is a ripple in a pond. Some ripples are tiny, barely noticeable, but others expand outward, touching every corner of your life. You could speak fear and doubt every day, and those ripples will touch everything. Your relationships, your work, your opportunities, leaving behind a landscape of limitation. Or you could speak words of abundance, faith, and expectation, and suddenly, every ripple draws new possibilities toward you. There's a power in speech that is invisible, yet incredibly tangible, and understanding that is the key to attracting wealth in ways you cannot even predict. Imagine a man walking down a busy street, muttering to himself about how nothing ever works out for him. His shoulders slump, his gaze is downcast, and as he interacts with people, they instinctively mirror his energy. Cashiers are brusque, strangers are impatient, colleagues are distant. He is, in essence, broadcasting a frequency of lack. Now imagine a different scene. Another man walks down that same street with a quiet confidence. He smiles, greets strangers warmly, and speaks words of gratitude and expectation under his breath. Today is filled with opportunity. I am open to receive good things. Abundance is mine. Suddenly, the world responds differently. Someone holds the door open. Colleague offers help without being asked. A chance meeting sparks a new opportunity. The only difference between these two men is the words they carry, and the energy those words create around them. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that words are not idle sounds, they are commands to the universe. She taught that when we speak words of faith, we are aligning ourselves with the unseen forces that can bring our desires into manifestation. It's not superstition, it's law. She would say, speak the word and it will happen. Think about it. You have the ability, in this moment, to influence reality simply by the words you choose. Every night before bed, the words you speak set the tone for what you will attract. Every morning, the words you whisper or declare create the blueprint for the day ahead. Words are seeds, but more than that, they are magnets, drawing toward you the very circumstances and people that reflect what you have spoken. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman who lived in a small apartment with her 2 children. Money was tight, and fear often crowded her heart. Every night she worried aloud, I can't make ends meet. I'll never get ahead. Her children grew up hearing scarcity and worry as the soundtrack of life. Then one day, she read Florence Scovel Shinn and decided to try something different. That night, she whispered new words. I am open to receiving all the good the universe has for me. Abundance flows to me freely and joyfully. She didn't know how it would happen, and she didn't have a single guarantee, but she felt a shift inside. Her words planted seeds of possibility. Within weeks, a friend called with an unexpected job offer. A neighbor gave her a small sum she desperately needed. Doors she didn't even know existed began opening, and the flow of life around her changed because she chose words that created alignment instead of resistance. And this principle doesn't just work with money. It works with opportunities, relationships, and even health. There are countless stories of people who declared wellness over their bodies, joy over their spirits, or favor over their circumstances, and then witnessed those declarations materialize in surprising ways. A man diagnosed with a serious illness began speaking daily affirmations of healing. He didn't just hope, he spoke with faith. My body is whole, healthy, and restored. Every cell vibrates with life. Doctors later confirmed that his recovery exceeded expectations. Was it magic? Perhaps not. But what happened was a profound shift in energy. His words created a state of alignment, opening his mind, body, and spirit to the possibilities of health that fear alone could have blocked. Consider, too, the historical examples. Leaders, inventors, and visionaries often attribute their breakthroughs to words spoken in faith long before the results were visible. Thomas Edison didn't simply stumble upon the light bulb by accident. He declared his intent and persisted with words and actions aligned to that intent. Winston Churchill, facing impossible odds, spoke words that inspired a nation, aligning the collective energy of a people to overcome fear. Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream began as a declaration, words spoken with such clarity and faith that they drew people, resources, and events into alignment with his vision. In every case, words acted as the initial spark, the unseen force that set everything else in motion. Now let's bring this closer to your life. Picture yourself lying in bed tonight, feeling the stress of bills, responsibilities, and dreams yet unfulfilled. Imagine closing your eyes and speaking aloud with faith. I am open to receive unexpected blessings. I am worthy of abundance, and it is coming to me now in perfect ways. Feel those words. Hear them echo in your mind. Don't just whisper them. Declare them with conviction. You are not speaking into emptiness. You are speaking to the universe, to your own subconscious, and to the energy that shapes your life. Each repetition strengthens the signal. Each word draws the unseen toward manifestation. It's important to realize that this practice requires more than casual repetition. It requires belief, consistency, and focus. Words spoken casually without feeling are like seeds dropped on dry, barren soil. But words spoken with conviction, repeated daily, and accompanied by an open heart are like seeds planted in rich, fertile ground. They grow. They expand. They bring fruit. Many people quit too soon, thinking that nothing is happening. But the universe operates on its own timeline. What you speak today may manifest tomorrow, next week, or months from now. What matters is that the words are planted and maintained with faith. Even in everyday scenarios, the principle works. Imagine walking into a meeting, speaking confidently, using phrases like, I am capable, prepared, and ready to succeed. Notice how people respond differently than if you enter timidly, murmuring doubts to yourself. The energy you carry in your words affects perception, draws cooperation, and opens doors. Imagine asking for help, an opportunity, or advice, and your words convey certainty instead of hesitation. People are naturally drawn to confidence and faith. Your words create that presence. Florence Scovel Shinn understood that speaking in alignment with divine law was essential for true abundance. She encouraged her students to make statements like, I am guided, protected, and abundantly provided for. My needs are met in perfect ways. These aren't mere affirmations. They are declarations of alignment. Each word carries intention and faith. Each sentence acts as a conduit, connecting your inner belief with outer manifestation. The act of speaking them is not wishful thinking. It is an act of co-creation, a partnership with the unseen forces of life that respond to faith. Imagine the ripple effect in your own life if you began speaking like this consistently. Not only would you notice changes in your circumstances, but your energy would shift. You would walk taller, breathe deeper, and face challenges with a sense of calm assurance. Opportunities would appear, people would respond favorably, and even your own intuition would guide you more clearly. The words you speak do more than describe reality. They create the conditions for reality to respond. Now imagine combining this with gratitude. Speaking words of abundance while feeling truly grateful is like turning the dial on a cosmic amplifier. Gratitude amplifies your declarations, making the energy even more powerful. When you say, I am receiving blessings and I am thankful for them, you are not only declaring abundance but also reinforcing it with emotion. The universe responds to both intention and feeling, and the combination is irresistible. Your words, your affirmations, your declarations, when spoken with faith, become the bridge between what is and what can be. They are the unseen current pulling possibilities toward you. They are the magnet that attracts wealth, opportunity, and favor. They are the spiritual law Florence Scovel Shinn spent her life teaching. When you speak with conviction, you are not merely expressing a hope. You are initiating creation. Every word is a spark, and every spark can ignite a chain reaction that transforms your life in ways you cannot yet imagine. Let's explore a truth that most people never fully grasp. Faith-filled declarations invite unexpected blessings. It's one thing to hope for something, to wish for better circumstances, or to pray quietly in desperation. It's another thing entirely to speak with confidence and conviction, to declare as if the blessings you desire are already on their way. There's a profound difference between wishful thinking and the deliberate act of speaking with faith. Florence Scovel Shinn often emphasized that the universe responds not to fear or doubt, but to certainty. When you declare with faith, you are sending out a signal to the unseen, an energetic invitation for what is yours by right to appear. Picture a young man struggling to pay his rent. Every day he counts coins, worries about how he will make ends meet, and fears the phone ringing with bad news. Then, one evening, he reads Shinn's teachings and decides to try something radical. He whispers under his breath before sleep, "Unexpected blessings are coming to me. I am open and ready to receive abundance in every form." Feels awkward at first, almost foolish. But he continues each night, repeating it as if it were fact, not fantasy. A few days later, he receives a call from an old friend he hasn't spoken to in years. This friend offers him a small freelance job that turns into a steady stream of income. A neighbor gifts him groceries, and a coworker shares tips on a side business he hadn't considered. He doesn't know how or why it's happening. He only knows that his words, spoken in faith, opened the door for blessings he never expected. It is easy to miss this power because the universe often works in ways we do not anticipate. Blessings rarely arrive in the exact form we imagine. That's why faith is essential. It's the willingness to trust that what is coming may not look like what we expected, but it is exactly what we need. Imagine planting a seed and expecting a rose, but a sunflower grows instead. At first, you might be disappointed because it wasn't what you pictured, but soon you see that it provides light, joy, and sustenance in ways you hadn't imagined. In life, blessings operate the same way. When we declare with faith, we are opening ourselves to an infinite variety of solutions and opportunities, many of which we would never have conceived on our own. Let me tell you about a woman named Clara. Clara had dreamed of opening a small bakery for years. She worked long hours at a job she didn't love, always wondering if she'd ever find the means to start her business. One night, after reading Shinn's words, she began speaking aloud every evening. "I am receiving everything I need to open my bakery. Resources, guidance, and support flow to me effortlessly." She didn't know the specifics. She didn't know the steps. She just spoke. Within a month, a local investor she had never met contacted her after tasting one of her cupcakes at a community event. Another neighbor offered her a kitchen space for a fraction of the cost she imagined. And her friends, inspired by her faith and determination, offered their time and energy to help. Clara had not begged or pleaded. She had simply declared with faith, and the universe responded with unexpected blessings that far exceeded her imagination. This principle is echoed in history and everyday life. Many inventors, entrepreneurs, and leaders achieved breakthroughs not because they planned every detail perfectly, but because they declared their intentions boldly and trusted in their fulfillment. Thomas Edison, when asked about his seemingly endless experiments, described his faith in a larger plan. "I am not discouraged because every wrong attempt discarded is another step forward." Edison's words, spoken with certainty and repeated daily, invited persistence and insight, which in turn created invention. Similarly, when Harriet Tubman declared her mission to lead enslaved people to freedom, she did not know exactly how each journey would unfold. She simply acted in faith, spoke her intentions, and was guided toward outcomes that, at the time, seemed impossible. The blessings of her work were unexpected yet monumental, both for herself and for the countless lives she touched. Faith-filled declarations also shift perception. When you speak words of abundance, your mind starts to notice possibilities it once overlooked. A man might declare, "Opportunities flow to me effortlessly," and suddenly he begins to see job openings, business ideas, and collaborations that he previously ignored. The very act of speaking in faith aligns your awareness with potential, creating a feedback loop where opportunity begets opportunity. It's not magic in the sense of luck. It is a shift in perception combined with action that brings blessings into view. I want you to imagine this. You are walking through life with your eyes half closed, missing the little miracles happening around you. Then you begin to declare, I am open to receive blessings beyond my imagination. Suddenly, the world seems to sparkle. Someone offers help, a door opens that was previously closed, an idea comes to you at exactly the right moment. These blessings are not random, they are responses to the frequency you are sending out through your words. When you speak in faith, you are setting the stage for events, people, and resources to align with your declared intentions. There's also a subtle but important point. Faith-filled declarations create a state of readiness. You may speak words of abundance, but if your heart and mind are closed, your blessings may pass unnoticed. Faith is the bridge between declaration and manifestation. It requires trust, patience, and openness. Consider a farmer who plants seeds in the spring. He waters them, nurtures the soil, and trusts that they will grow. He does not dig them up every day to see if they have sprouted. Faith-filled declarations work the same way. You plant the words, nourish them with belief, and allow them time to take root. The harvest may come in ways and times you cannot predict, but it will come. Think of the ripple effect in your own life. A single declaration, spoken consistently, can create a chain of blessings that touches multiple areas. A person declares health, and they notice opportunities for exercise, diet, and healing. A person declares abundance, and they begin to recognize chances for financial gain, creative expression, and service to others. A person declares love and connection, and relationships shift, aligning with the energy they are broadcasting. Florence Scovel Shinn's teachings remind us that the spoken word is never isolated. It interacts with unseen forces, attracting circumstances, people, and resources that respond to its frequency. Even in the smallest details, faith-filled declarations create unexpected blessings. Imagine a student who speaks each morning, "I am capable of learning and mastering new skills." They may suddenly find themselves understanding concepts more quickly, discovering mentors willing to guide them, or stumbling upon resources they never knew existed. Imagine someone declaring, "I am attracting supportive friends and allies," and noticing new connections forming naturally, doors opening in ways that seem serendipitous but are the natural outcome of faith in action. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "It is never crowded along the extra mile." Faith-filled declarations often require effort and consistency beyond the ordinary, but the results are extraordinary. By speaking with faith, you are going the extra mile in the unseen realm, creating conditions for blessings that the average person misses. And often, these blessings arrive in ways that surprise you, delight you, and exceed your expectations. They are unexpected because they bypass your limited human imagination and flow through channels you could not have engineered on your own. The key, then, is to speak boldly, consistently, and with expectation. Declare what you want, even if it has not yet appeared. Speak as if it is already yours. And most importantly, trust that what arrives may be even greater than what you imagined. The universe does not operate on your small plan. It operates on an infinite plan, and when you align your words with faith, you step into a current that carries blessings far beyond your calculations. Every word is a seed, every declaration a magnet, every act of faith a signal that the unseen is invited to work on your behalf. When you understand this, you begin to live differently. You stop worrying about lack. You start expecting good. You notice opportunities that were invisible before. You hear guidance from unexpected sources. People step forward to help without being asked. Doors open, ideas spark, and resources flow. Faith-filled declarations are not about forcing outcomes. They are about creating alignment, opening the channels, and allowing the abundance that is already your divine right to manifest in unexpected, joyful, and often miraculous ways. Let's dive deeply into the idea that consistency is key. Speak your affirmations daily, and watch how your life begins to transform. It's easy to feel inspired in a moment, to feel the spark of excitement when you hear a powerful truth or read a compelling book. And then, life happens. The phone rings, responsibilities pile up, distractions pull you away, and suddenly the words that once carried so much power are forgotten. Yet the difference between those who live in constant abundance and those who drift in lack often comes down to one thing: persistence. The repeated, faithful declaration of what you desire is what creates lasting change. Words spoken once may plant a seed, but repeated words water it, nurture it, and give it life. Imagine a young man who dreamed of starting his own business. He read the stories of successful entrepreneurs, felt inspired, and declared, "I am attracting the resources, people, and opportunities to build my dream." The first day, he felt the thrill of possibility, and perhaps a small door opened. A friend offered advice, a lead came his way. But then the busyness of life returned. He went to work, dealt with bills, answered emails, and forgot his nightly declaration. Weeks later, he noticed that the momentum he felt that first day had faded. The universe responds not to occasional whispers but to repeated signals. Consistency tells the unseen forces that you are serious, that this is not a passing wish, that you are committed to walking in alignment with your desired reality. Florence Scovel Shinn emphasized the importance of repetition, of speaking your affirmations with daily faith. She understood that the mind works like a garden. If you plant a seed once and leave it untended, weeds will overtake it, and the seed may never grow. But if you water it every day, protect it, and give it light, it thrives. Your words, repeated with intention and belief, act like sunlight, water, and fertilizer for the unseen aspects of your life. They cultivate the energy around you, slowly but surely shaping your reality. Each day you speak, you reinforce the pattern in your subconscious mind, and this pattern begins to direct your actions, choices, and perceptions in alignment with your declarations. Consider the story of a single mother, Maria, who struggled to pay her bills while raising 2 children. Every evening, she would sit quietly after putting her children to bed and whisper the same words she had learned from Shinn. "I am receiving abundant blessings. All my needs are met in perfect ways. Opportunities flow to me freely." At first, nothing seemed to happen. She felt skeptical, frustrated, and wondered if these words were meaningless. But she persisted, night after night, week after week. Slowly, small opportunities began to appear. A friend offered a temporary job, a neighbor shared advice on a side business, a bill arrived with a partial credit she hadn't expected. These small blessings grew over time, creating a momentum that eventually allowed her to stabilize her finances and even save. It was the consistency of her declarations that allowed the unseen forces to respond fully. Consistency also trains the subconscious mind. The subconscious is like a loyal servant. It listens, it learns, and it acts. When you speak words of faith once, the mind notices, but when you repeat them consistently, it begins to believe them as reality. Your thoughts begin to align with your words, your actions start to reflect your declarations, and your perception of the world shifts. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible becomes obvious. Doors you never noticed before open, solutions appear, and opportunities that seemed hidden reveal themselves. This is not mere coincidence. It is the power of the repeated spoken word creating a new template for your life. There's a story about a man who wanted to improve his health. He had struggled with fatigue and stress for years, but one night, inspired by a spiritual teaching, he began to speak, "My body is healthy, strong, and vibrant. I am full of energy and vitality." First it felt awkward. He doubted whether words alone could affect the physical body. But he committed to speaking it each morning and each night. Within weeks, he noticed small changes. He felt lighter, his mind clearer. He had more energy to take walks, to eat better, to rest more deeply. Each repetition reinforced his belief and created a feedback loop of positive action and manifestation. The consistency of his words translated into consistent changes in behavior, which manifested as health and vitality. Think about the cumulative effect of daily declarations. One day may feel insignificant, even meaningless. 2 weeks may feel discouraging. But months of repeated affirmations build an invisible scaffolding of faith and expectation around your life. Imagine stacking bricks every day. One brick alone does little, but as you continue, a wall forms, and eventually a structure emerges. A structure that protects you, supports you, and holds the abundance you've called forth. Your daily words are the bricks, and consistency is the builder. Even in historical examples, consistency was the cornerstone of success. Abraham Lincoln faced repeated failures, lost elections, and personal tragedies, Yet he persisted. He kept returning to his vision of leadership and unity for his country. His repeated focus and persistent belief in his purpose created the momentum that eventually led him to the presidency and to actions that reshaped a nation. The same principle applies to wealth, opportunity, and blessings in your personal life. Daily, consistent declarations, spoken aloud or repeated silently in your mind, build a foundation that invites the unexpected and the miraculous into your life. Consistency also demonstrates alignment between belief and action. It is easy to speak words of faith when you feel inspired or motivated, but the real power comes when you speak them even when circumstances appear contrary. A person who declares abundance during times of scarcity, who speaks favor in the face of challenge, and who repeats their affirmations without wavering, signals to the universe that their desire is unwavering and that they are aligned with the flow of provision. This alignment attracts opportunities, guidance, and synchronicities that might otherwise pass unnoticed. Imagine a gardener tending to a delicate plant in a storm. They water it, adjust its position, protect it, and continue tending it despite harsh weather. Over time, the plant grows stronger, resilient, and eventually bears fruit. Similarly, your consistent declarations, repeated daily with faith, nurture the unseen aspects of your life. They create resilience in your mind, clarity in your vision, and the momentum needed to manifest your desires. The universe begins to recognize the seriousness of your intent and responds accordingly. Even in the smallest of routines, consistency matters. Speaking your affirmations in the morning sets the tone for your day. Repeating them at night anchors the energy before sleep, allowing your subconscious mind to process them while you rest. Writing them down, visualizing them, or sharing them with others reinforces their power. Each repetition, no matter how small, compounds into an effect far greater than the sum of its parts. Consistency transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary. There was once a woman who had dreams of financial independence. She struggled for years, working multiple jobs and barely making ends meet. She read Shinn's teachings and began to speak daily. I am open to receive wealth. Opportunities flow to me freely, and I am guided toward financial abundance. She did this every morning and evening without fail. Months passed, and though nothing dramatic seemed to happen, her mindset began to shift. She noticed opportunities that she had overlooked before. She began saving and budgeting with clarity, and small financial windfalls appeared unexpectedly. 1 year later, she had not only stabilized her finances but had created a side business that provided significant extra income. It was the power of consistent declaration over time that transformed her reality. Consistency is not glamorous, and it rarely produces instant results. It is quiet, patient, and sometimes invisible, but its effects are cumulative, unstoppable, and transformative. Every day you speak words of faith and abundance, you reinforce a pattern of expectation and alignment. Every day you send a signal to the universe, to your subconscious mind, and to your own spirit that abundance, opportunity, and blessings are your reality. And when you combine these repeated declarations with belief, action, and openness, life begins to respond in ways that are often unexpected, joyful, and profoundly life-changing. Let's dive deeply into the idea that you are aligning, not begging. Blessings are already assigned to you because this is one of the most powerful shifts you can make in your life. Too many people approach abundance with a sense of desperation, as if they are pleading for scraps from the universe. They kneel, they worry, they hope, but there is tension in their hearts, and tension repels the very thing they are seeking. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that when you understand the principle of alignment, everything changes. You are not asking for something external to come and save you. You are simply recognizing what is already yours and opening yourself to receive it. It's like realizing that a treasure chest is buried in your own backyard. You don't need to search far. You just need to remove the dirt and open the lid. Imagine a young man named David, who spent years struggling financially. Every day he prayed and begged for a better job, more money, and relief from debt. He spent sleepless nights worrying and pacing his small apartment. His prayers were earnest, but they were filled with fear. Then one day, he read the teachings of Florence Scovel Shinn, and something clicked. The words he read were simple but revolutionary. All that is mine by divine right comes to me under grace. David realized that he had been begging for what was already his by natural law. From that moment his approach changed. Each morning he began speaking aloud. I am aligned with divine provision. Wealth flows to me effortlessly and under grace. He wasn't asking anymore. He was affirming. He wasn't desperate. He was claiming his rightful inheritance. The shift in his energy was immediate. Suddenly, doors he hadn't even knocked on before began to open. An old acquaintance offered him a consulting job. A client he thought he had lost returned with additional work. Opportunities that had seemed distant now appeared as if they had been waiting for him all along. This principle of alignment works because it taps into the natural law of life. The universe operates with order, rhythm, and balance. Everything belongs to someone. Everything has a rightful place. You don't need to push, pull, or struggle to claim your blessings. They are already assigned to you, waiting for your awareness and your willingness to receive. It's like a train scheduled to arrive at your station. You don't have to chase it down the tracks. You simply need to be at the platform, ready and expecting it to arrive. Think about historical figures who understood this principle, even if they didn't phrase it exactly this way. Mother Teresa, for example, never begged the world for love or purpose. She aligned herself with service and compassion, trusting that what she needed would appear as she faithfully walked her path. Opportunities came, resources flowed, and her impact was monumental, not because she pleaded or demanded, but because she aligned her heart, mind, and actions with her mission. Her life demonstrates that alignment draws blessings in ways begging never could. Consider, too, the small miracles in everyday life. A woman named Sarah had been longing for a child for years. She felt desperate, sad, and hopeless. Then she began speaking affirmations of alignment, not asking the universe to force her circumstances but claiming her natural right to receive blessings. I am ready to receive the gift of life that is already assigned to me. My heart and home are open. She visualized herself as a mother, feeling gratitude as if the child were already present. She changed her focus from lack to alignment, from yearning to expectancy. Months later, she discovered she was pregnant. The blessing was never absent. It was simply waiting for her recognition and readiness to receive it. This same principle applies to financial abundance, career opportunities, and relationships. Many people live their lives chasing what is already theirs, exhausting themselves in struggle and anxiety. They negotiate, plead, and convince, forgetting that the flow of life responds not to struggle but to alignment. Imagine a river. If you try to dam it or force it in a certain direction, it resists, floods, or evaporates. But if you align your boat with the current, the river carries you forward effortlessly. Your declarations of faith, your words of expectancy, your inner alignment with the divine flow act like that alignment. You are not forcing blessings to appear. You are positioning yourself to receive them naturally, gracefully, and fully. Florence Scovel Shinn would often remind her students to speak as if the blessing has already arrived. She advised, "You do not ask for what is yours, you claim it by right." There is a subtle but profound difference in energy between asking and claiming. Asking carries doubt and uncertainty. Claiming carries certainty and faith. One vibrates with fear. The other vibrates with confidence. One may attract temporary results. The other draws consistent, enduring manifestations. By aligning yourself through words, thought, and belief, you are telling the universe, and yourself, that you are ready to receive all that is yours. Imagine a man named Thomas, who dreamed of owning a home. He spent years sending applications, negotiating loans, and hoping for approval. Every rejection left him disheartened. Every setback reinforced his sense of lack. One day he changed his approach. Each morning he said, "I am aligned with the perfect home that is already assigned to me. It comes to me under grace, with ease and joy." He imagined walking into the house, feeling the space, and being grateful as if he already lived there. Within a few months, he found a home that matched his vision, with terms better than he had imagined. He didn't chase it anymore. He aligned with it, and the universe responded. The home was never out of reach. He had simply been out of alignment. Alignment also requires trust and patience. Sometimes blessings take time to arrive because the timing must be perfect. The universe has a plan, a rhythm, and a way of delivering what is yours in ways you might not expect. Speaking affirmations, acting in faith, and maintaining alignment prepare you to receive when the moment is right. Impatience, doubt, and begging disrupt this flow. When you understand that blessings are already assigned to you, you can release fear and worry, step confidently into your life, and allow the natural course of manifestation to unfold. Even in relationships, alignment works wonders. People often chase love, friendship, or recognition with desperation. They plead, manipulate, and convince, exhausting themselves in the process. But when they align with their inner truth and claim their rightful connections, the right people are drawn to them. A young woman named Elena had been longing for a deep, loving partnership. She spent years dating the wrong people, trying to force connections and feeling anxious and incomplete. Then she began speaking affirmations of alignment. I am open to the love that is already assigned to me. I am worthy of a partner who cherishes and supports me. She focused on self-love, gratitude, and expectation. Within a year, she met someone whose presence felt like a natural extension of her heart, someone who had been drawn into her life by the energy of alignment she had cultivated. The power of this principle is that it removes struggle from the equation. You are no longer running after life with frantic energy, wondering if it will give you what you need. Instead, you are positioning yourself in harmony with the flow of life, confident that what is already yours will come. Your words, thoughts, and actions signal readiness. You live as if the blessings exist already, and in doing so, you magnetize them toward you. The difference between begging and alignment is like the difference between trying to pull a horse up a hill and simply walking beside it as it carries you naturally forward. This understanding transforms every area of life. Money, health, relationships, creativity, purpose. You realize that lack is never the true condition of life. It is a perception born of misalignment. When you align yourself, your mind, body, and spirit become receptive. You notice opportunities, ideas, and guidance that were invisible before. You act with clarity and confidence. And slowly, subtly, unexpectedly, the blessings that were always assigned to you begin to manifest. When you speak words of faith, when you act in alignment with what you desire, when you release fear and desperation, you step into a state of effortless receiving. You are not asking, you are claiming. You are not pleading, you are expecting. You are not chasing, you are aligned. And in that alignment, life flows to you with grace, timing, and perfection, revealing the abundance that has always been yours, waiting for your recognition. So now you know the secret. Wealth isn't just about money, it's about alignment, faith, and the words you speak. Imagine what could shift in your life if you consistently spoke with intention and claimed what is already yours. If you want to master this power and start attracting abundance effortlessly, hit that subscribe button, not because I told you to, but because taking control of your life starts with the knowledge you apply. Comment below. If you could receive one unexpected blessing tomorrow, what would it be and why? Let's see your answers.